Hey everybody, Soapbox Bill here. We began DCember talking about Batman and the start of a legacy for the DC animated universe. The first full movie we'll be talking about also deals with Batman and legacy. Specifically, Batman's son, Damian. Though the Caped Crusader is prominently featured in this feature-length film, it is less about him and is more about his son. This is his origin story, not the Batman's. While differing in several aspects from the original comics, this movie tells a story about how Damian Wayne, son of Bruce Wayne and Talia al Ghul, becomes the new Robin. Dick Grayson, of course, makes an appearance as Nightwing, and there are also a number of other cameos of villains and characters throughout the DC continuity, specifically Batman's continuity. Though I don't want to spoil any major plot points, I won't go into much detail other than what's pretty much spoiled by the box blurb. The movie starts with Damian standing atop a mountain monastery with his grandfather, Ra's al Ghul, as members of the League of Assassins train in the courtyard. Talia is also there with her son, and they watch as the place comes under attack by Slade Wilson, Deathstroke, the Terminator, who somehow manages to kill Ra's al Ghul and take over the League. This all has some spectacularly animated fight sequences showing Damian's skill as a fighter and assassin, though the believability of how a young boy is able to take on fully armed and trained adults is a bit much. Feats Damian talks about in passing are also incredible, like climbing a mountain when he was 4 years old with a broken wrist. Still, suspension of disbelief and all that. Talia then takes her son to meet his father, Batman, who has no idea that he even existed. Batman knowing that Damian existed. Of course, Batman knows that he exists. That if he didn't, that would be stupid. And that's just the first act in a bit. Over the remaining course of the movie, Bruce tries to show Damian restraint and teach him ways rather than just the League's ways, but rather the ways of Batman. They also begin searching for clues as to where Slade is and what he is planning to do. What will Slade Wilson do with the League of Assassins at his command? Eventually, this all culminates in a final showdown between Slade and Robin, which is a hold-nothing-back fight as the two exchange blow for blow. Not a punch-out Mike Tyson style, but a constant back and forth between the two, with neither gaining the upper hand till the very last moment. And that's as far as it goes for the plot, at least as far as I'm willing to go right now. Overall, I found the plot of the story to be fitting for an origin story and a good introduction to Damian to a lot of people who may not know about him. His arrogance and slight snark is, in a way, charming and entertaining. Unlike most origin stories where the main character is unsure of themselves and full of doubts and who am I, why do I have these powers, why do I have this? Instead, Damian is full of confidence. I found this change of pace to be refreshing, and it drew me into the story a lot more. As far as aesthetics, the movie is heavily influenced by the dark shadows and aesthetics of the original Batman the Animated Series, though it does have a bit of an upgrade from being in the new millennium. This is a film from 2014, and it shows. It shares a similar style and aesthetic to other shows that came out at around that time, Young Justice, and other DC animated movies as well. There is one exception to that aesthetic that's come out, but we'll talk about that later, and it wasn't in this movie. This is a departure from the norm for the DC animated series, but we'll talk about that later. So, final thoughts. Should you see the movie? Yes. Yes, you should. It is a very good movie, a very good romp. And even if you know the story of Damian and his origin story, why he's there, what he's doing, it's still entertaining to see him. There's a running gag throughout the movie about Damian knowing how to do all these great things, how to do these things that a child shouldn't know how to do. One of them is driving. Can I drive? No. But I know how? No. It's funny exchanges like that showing fish out of water, but not really. He's confident. His confidence in his abilities puts him above usual fish out of water scenarios. Honestly, it's a good movie. Give it a watch. Until then, I'll see you next time on DCember. Soapbox Bill, out.